Welcome to Let Them See You, the podcast that honors educators, the everyday heroes shaping futures with courage and heart. I'm your host, Sarah Hightower. This is your space to recharge, find joy, and embrace your power. Welcome to episode 8, New Teacher Diaries. I think I know what you might be thinking. So what are we going to be talking about when you say diaries? Are they sharing their deepest, darkest secrets or what? No, we don't do all that here. But what our special guest today is going to be sharing is what it's like to be a new teacher and the things that go through his mind when he has to plan and what happens when things happen that are unplanned. So we will have a great conversation with our guest today. He will be introduced a little bit later on. But before we get into that quick chat, I want to know, what are those streaming services that you use the most? Right now, I am heavy on Netflix when I have a chance to watch TV because I like the selection on Netflix. One of the things that really gets me is a series. I will binge a series for sure. I will not share some of the series that I binge, but I do like to watch the ones that keep me guessing. I like a good whodunit. So I tend to like the ones that are about the train wreck. It's not an actual train wreck, but it's the ones where that company has made it. And so they'll talk about how something crazy happened and this is what we know about that crazy thing that happened. And it kind of leaves it up to you as to what you think happened by the end of it. One of them, the most recent one that I watched, was about, I think her name was Amy, and she went missing on a cruise ship. And nobody really knows what happened to her on this cruise ship. She was on the boat, and the last they saw of her, her dad saw her sitting on the patio of their room. And around 6 o'clock that morning, an hour later after he saw her, she wasn't there anymore. And so the question was, okay, well, did she jump off the boat? Or did somebody come in and take her out of the room? And all of this occurred with nobody seeing it? Like, what happened? A little bit of context that this happened back in the 90s or something, late 80s, early 90s. So video surveillance wasn't as abundant as it is now. We have cameras everywhere now. But back then, they only had cameras kind of in the main areas of the boat. So they really didn't know where she went and who she went with. All they knew was that there was a suspect that they felt like could have done it. And that person is like, nah, I didn't do anything. So it's really interesting, those kinds of shows. I like to watch those on Netflix. I'm also down for a good rom-com. I love romantic comedies. I love to go, I love that. That is me. I also I'm not into horror, but I do like Wednesday just because she's mean, but in the nicest way. She's blunt and very intelligent and very curious and loves to dig into things that she's interested in. So I like that about Wednesday. This new season that's come up, she's more kind of along the lines of a little detective. So that's been interesting to me. But there's a lot of things I like to watch. I like Peacock. I watch a couple of things on Peacock right now. I like Project Runway, of course. That's one of my favorite reality, if you will, shows. I like that. And there's another Project Runway type of show that is about Carnival. And I think it's called Carnival Catwalk. Love it. I'm all about it. Now I want to go to Trinidad and Tobago really bad. I just like the way that they are so creative and the way they put that into practice to create clothing, and it makes people feel good about themselves. So those are some of the main shows that I love to watch. Do I watch too much TV? Probably, but I also love to read. I also like to spend time with my kids and my family. So what do you like to watch? Let me know. We have our special guest today. He is one of the best new teachers I have ever seen. When I first went into his classroom, I was observing just because of the number of emergent bilingual students on his roster that he sees from period 1 to period 7. And by the end of it, I talked to him after one class period and he told me he was a new teacher. And I said, "What?" And he said, "Yeah, this is my first year." I was shocked, appalled, because he was so good. And I told him that. I made sure he knew. I was like, "I don't think you understand how good you are. You have to get to know this teacher. He is one to watch. He is phenomenal. He is going places. I hope he stays in this profession for a very long time. And I hope that he understands we need people in the field that want to be there, that are really great at what they do and have no problem planning for things to go well, like him." Without further ado, let's get into it with our guest of this week, Mr. Ricardo Martinez. And welcome, Mr. Ricardo Martinez. I want
Hi.
to tell you a little bit about him. Ricardo Martinez is a second year, eighth grade ELA teacher. He graduated from the University of Houston with a double major in English and Women's Gender and Sexuality Studies in 2018 and hopes to continue his education in the near and far future. Aside from a passion for education, he also has a passion for fashion, fun, and friends. Welcome, Mr. Ricardo Martinez.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me to your podcast. I'm very excited to be here.
Yes. So, Ricardo, I would like to know what's something you wish you had done differently in your first year, and how did you adjust for this year?
I wish I had started with more organizational skills. I was thrown into my classroom last year with no idea what I wanted to do for even decorations
Mm,
or submissions for assignments. And so having organizational skills is a must. Starting the year with an organized and decorated classroom honestly sets the stage for your year, and your students pick up on that. So it's important to just take time, even if you got hired days before the school year started, to just take time to get your classroom to look like a reflection of you,
mm.
because the students really pick up on that. They really will call you out on it too. They will know if you're a new teacher based on how your classroom works and how it looks. So structure is important. What matters to you? It's important to take a moment, reflect and say what matters to me. What do I want my kids to do when I am talking to them, when I'm teaching, when they are doing group work, when they are picking up a pencil, even. It's important to have all of that organized and ready to go as soon as possible. If not by day one, truthfully, by day two,
Yeah.
because you need to set some structure. This year, it's different because I had more time to reflect on what worked and what didn't work. So I'm coming in with things that I love doing already and with a decorated classroom. So that's how it's going to be different. And I'm confident that it's going to make my first couple of months easier.
Yes, I would think so. You're right that students can tell, right, if you are organized and you have some type of structure in place. So, how do you build relationships with the students while still maintaining structure and expectations?
Structure and classroom expectations are the priority to me. It's how you set up a safe classroom environment. What students want the most is safety. So, as long as you have that foundation of structure, rules, expectations, we don't really call them rules, but that's really, in a way, what they are. You will have willing students. Make them feel safe. If you think that being loose and being like, oh, everything is quiet, it's gonna just fall into place. I don't think it's going to happen, because that's honestly my attitude at times, but it really doesn't happen. You really have to let them know what you want. You got to let them know what it's expected of them. And that is what's going to help you build those relationships
Yeah.
because they'll feel safe around you physically. And then you showing your humanity
Hmm.
and your personality through your actions and through your lessons is going to help you build those relationships. I fully believe that relationship building is priority number two in your classroom, and
Okay.
it's going to help your students do what you want them to do because at the end of the day you want them to produce some work to show that they're learning,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And that only happens through that structure, through respect agreements, through your personality. You got to let them know at the beginning what matters to you the most. So, for example, for me, it's important for them to know that we are going to work hard.
Yes.
And saying that is easy for us, maybe because we do give them assignments, but they also have to know that we're working hard.
Yeah.
I'm very transparent with my kids
You
because
are.
they think that we go every day just to terrorize them, and we're like, oh, yes, you have to write this essay, and that's what came up to my head. No, we planned that out. We
Right.
worked through it, and
There's a
we create.
purpose.
There's a purpose,
Yes.
exactly. So when you set up that purpose for them, and you are clear with them, like the reason why we're doing this is because of this, and when you turn it in, I am also going to take hours out of my life and my day to grade it and to give you that feedback. So that's what matters to me the most, that we
Right.
both know, student and teacher, that we are both going to work really hard. Then I also want them to know that I want them to be open minded. I
Yeah.
am very much me and I have my own take on things.
Hmm.
And they respect that a lot more than you think.
Yeah.
If you are going to pretend to be something, they're going to pick up on that and they're going to shut down on you. So
Absolutely.
moments of reflection, moments of being able to show your humanity is what's going to help you build those relationships. Being honest, being
Right.
honest. Like there will be moments where you are just simply not feeling your best or that you mess up. Those are the best moments to show your whole class that you are willing to put your guard down and say, I am so sorry. I didn't do my best. That's what's going to make them feel comfortable doing that for you.
Right.
And then that's very big picture, simple things. Let's keep it simple. You got to
Right.
meet them at the door. Don't let them in without you being at the door. Go say good morning. Go
Right.
say good afternoon. Little things. You see them in the hallway. Hi.
That's it.
Simple. If you're listening to this and you are going into your first year, it's uncomfortable at times because I'm more reserved than I'm seeming to be. And I don't want to just say hello to everybody. But the more you do it, the more they feel comfortable in your class,
Right.
truthfully. And last thing about like little things that you can do, pick up on their interests, pick up on their habits, pick up on their hobbies.
Yes.
So even if it's not something you're honestly naturally inclined to ask about, because I'm not into sports and I'm in a very sports oriented classroom. If some boys made it to the soccer team, I made it a point to write down their names and be like, hey, let's congratulate all these kids, all those that made it into the team. Yay. Just a brief little moment in the
Yeah.
classroom that really helps the morale.
It does. It does. And it builds that community in the classroom and they're willing to work together and work with you to win for everybody. What
Exactly.
always. What is one routine or procedure that really helped you run your classroom smoothly?
For sure. Having daily do nows or warm ups
Hmm.
help to structure my class. For me, having the bookends of your classroom very clear help you structure classrooms daily. For example, I have a do now every single day. Most days, I will have something on the board to let them know what they're going to do for the next 5 to 10 minutes, depending on what we do that day.
Okay.
And then at the end, I make sure that if I don't have an exit ticket, that I let them know. And that's very much me. You are not dismissed by the bell. I dismiss you. So don't
Now
start
that's a
packing.
fact, y'all. I have observed this. They cannot move. He's like, I'm gonna wait.
Listen,
I
and
love it.
they resent me for it. It's not they do. They know me in the school because of it. I cannot tell you how much it has helped me structure my class because they know that at the beginning and at the end of the class, this is what's going to happen and that's the expectation.
Right.
So that's those are really helpful for me.
Good. I'm glad it works. It should, but because I've seen it not work, and I think the reason why it works for you is because, like you said, at the beginning of the year, you set those strong expectations and you don't waver. This is what we do, and this is how it is. And it's a lot easier to set that strong expectation at the beginning and to lax a little bit later than it is to be lax early and to try to set a strong expectation later. You've got to be clear and structured from the very beginning. And you've always been very good at that. So well done.
Thank you. I want to point out that you said do not waver. Be consistent.
Hmm.
Whatever you want to do in that classroom, you just have to faithfully do it. That's the key to anything. Anything that you want to implement in your classroom, whether it is a process for them picking up their assignments or raising their hand and participating, you have to be consistent because if you start answering questions from somebody that did not raise their hand, you already lost it. And
Right.
so little things matter. Consistency matters. Do not waver.
Always. How do you stay organized with lesson planning and grading and communication?
I don't know. How do I? With grading, good luck. I'm
I
not even
know.
joking.
I know. It can be a lot.
Just just know that for grading, you will have to sacrifice time.
Yeah.
You will have weekends that you have to grade. Just submit to that idea. It will happen. Whether you have 10 years of experience or 1 year, if you're in an ELA, you're gonna have to spend a day or two just reading essays.
Yeah.
That's what we're here for. And
Right.
so grading, I wish I could give you better advice. For lesson planning, I think it's all about your team. PLCs are so important. Take them
Mhm.
seriously. You're talking with your team, you're planning for the week, for the month, for the future. It's important for you to hold yourself accountable. If you have your own ideas, bring it up to your team.
Yeah.
For me, it really goes back to having a strong team and strong communication skills. Let's be honest, I'm lucky. I have a really good team.
You do.
I've always told you. I've always talked my team up and you've witnessed them. They're
Yeah.
incredible.
Hmm.
Some people are not as lucky.
Right.
So when you are not as lucky, you need to go out into the school and find at least one person you know can support you. I know that there are people out there that will be willing to help you because
Mhm.
being a first year teacher, we all want to jump in and help you. I promise
Of
you.
course.
The people that are not jaded, the people that are nice, which is a lot of them, truthfully, a
Yeah,
lot of them out there just simply do want to help you.
I do.
And so that's what's going to make staying organized with lesson planning easier because they'll give you advice. They'll tell you what tools they use,
Hmm.
how to read the curriculum. It'll also improve your communication skills, which is part of the question, right? Like staying organized is all about communication, asking for
Right.
help, knowing what you know and what you want to learn about. Seek that help out in your classroom, or you can always call me. I'll be
Oh,
available.
yes. Very kind of you. It's important to advocate for yourself. You mentioned that you would go out and seek someone. That would be the advice. And I think that's great advice. Never sit and dwell on the fact that you don't know. You've got to speak up. There's always someone willing to help, but they don't know
Yes.
you need it until you say something. We don't want to assume that, oh, they're a new teacher. Let's give them this and this and this and this and this and just
Right.
pile all the things on. That's completely overwhelming. And you don't want to overwhelm either. So it's important that if you are new to this, speak up and say, I really need help with, and be specific. What is it exactly that you think you need help with? And if you're not sure, that's okay. You can
Right.
say, I really don't know what I need help with. I just know that it's not going the way I want it to. Someone will come in and observe, and they will be able to
Yes.
tell you what you need help with. They'll be able to help
Yes.
you with that.
Great point. Observations are very important. They are not always the most comfortable. Mostly your first couple of ones, you're not going to feel comfortable. You're going to feel on the spot, nervous, but the feedback is so important. My first observation, I got a very easy little task. Well, for me, it was easy feedback. It was use a timer. Changed my life. I'm like, timers are everything. Time it. So just getting observed and honestly just putting your pride down to ask for help, take feedback and use
Hmm.
it. Just be willing. You have to be very willing. Being a teacher is a humbling experience.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You're going to get feedback whether you want it or not. You're going to get it from the kids. You're going to get it from the parents. You're going to get it from the admin. You're going to get it from the other teachers. You're going to get it from yourself. You're going to get feedback whether you want it or not. So you might as well
Absolutely.
just be open to it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so have you ever been observed and there's a student who is like, I'm really gonna show out now. Like I'm about to just cut up because what is he gonna do while he's being observed? Has that ever happened to you?
Let me tell you the story. I had two kids that would act a fool during one of my classes. Always, they were just annoying. I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it. They
I
were
get it.
great,
I get
and
it.
they were running late on purpose. I saw them in the
Mm-hmm.
hallway. They were acting a fool in the hallway, and I was not having it. I'm like, they're not about to come into my classroom with this energy. And
Mm-hmm.
I literally closed the door in their face. I was like, no, no, no. You're late. You made your decision. The bell rang. I closed the door on them.
Mm-hmm.
And my administrator was right behind them. And I was like, oh my gosh. And when she unlocks the door, comes in, and I'm like, that is so embarrassing. I just basically slammed the door on their faces and
Oh
she saw
no.
that. I'm like, I hope she doesn't think that I'm evil.
No, I mean
I was
sometimes you
like,
get frustrated, but did the administrator talk to you about it?
she did not. So that's why I was like, okay, I don't know if I did the right thing or I did, but thankfully I just took time. Listen, if these kids are acting a fool, conferences are everything. Do not do it in front of anybody.
Right.
Just if somebody's acting a fool, remove them from the situation.
Uh-huh.
That is my advice. That's what I did. I was like, I'm not about to let them in just because I feel bad. I stood my ground
Hmm.
and it made me uncomfortable. It made me self-conscious because I
Yeah.
was like, oh no, I honestly have never done that before.
Hmm.
I was like, you know what? I just have to stand on 10 toes and say, you know what? I left them outside for a reason, and I'm gonna address them after I get this set of kids that want to get their work done going. So
Hmm.
get ready for your do now, do your do now, get your notebook out.
Hmm.
Let me go outside and address it. And so just removing them, honestly, whether I did it the right way or not, whether it
Right.
was,
Hmm.
seen however it was seen, it still ended up having good results because I was able to have a conversation with them and ask them to not be late. Why are you late? I saw you walking down the hallway, cutting up with the besties. That's not what we do.
Cutting up
That's
with
not
the
what we do.
besties.
Yeah, we don't do
Yeah.
that. We don't do that. You're not bringing that into my classroom. So when they come in, they know that they need to keep it together. Don't bring that energy. If you see that energy from the beginning, just address it. Always
Right.
have a
Hmm.
conference. Feel
Hmm.
comfortable having conferences
Oh,
with
yes.
your children. That goes back to the communication, that goes back to building relationships.
Right.
Listen to what they have to say
Hmm.
and stand your ground. So
Yeah.
that's kind of the only instance that really happened,
Okay, good.
because I and I've heard I'm strict. So
That's a great thing, though. That's not, I don't, and here's the thing, I don't view you as strict. I view you as fair. Like you know what the expectation is. They know what the expectation is, and you stick to it. That's fair. That's nothing strict about it. You stick to it. So, is there a strategy, like one strategy that helps you manage challenging behavior effectively?
communication. I don't want to sound like a broken record communication, but here's the thing, taking a breather, taking a moment, because managing challenging behavior also means that you have to manage yourself.
Ooh, yes.
These kids are going to try you. They will say some things that are out of pocket. There was this one instance, let me tell you, at the beginning of me teaching last year, some kid wrote just like a little activity to get to know them, and he wrote something about me and my sexuality.
Oh, wow.
And it was nothing like super harmful or anything, but he
Right.
thought it was funny because he called me over just to make sure
Mm.
that I read it. And I
Oh,
guess he thought I was
wow.
have a
Bold.
reaction. I took 24 hours to have a response back to him. Why?
Right.
Because I was peeved. I was upset and I needed to get advice. That's when you seek advice. So what I did was, because he thought it
Wise.
was so funny, it was in his notebook. I grabbed his notebook and I pull it up and thankfully he was sitting in front of everybody. So I literally go
Mm.
loudly. I just ripped the page and I said, I'm gonna talk to you. And I warned him, and everybody went mum because I'm sure that he had told his
Yeah.
homies that he was gonna make
I'm
Mr.
gonna do
Martinez
something. Yeah.
upset or something, and I'm like,
Wow.
no, no. So, and he saw. He never did it again. I'm like, read it out. So what? I got advice. I got some feedback from a couple of people, and they said, do this, and I executed it. They're kids.
Yeah.
If they do something they know they're wrong, particularly if it's something that they're trying to attack you as a person, they know they're
Yes.
wrong.
They know.
So it's honestly about you making sure that you're not upset, because
Hmm.
if you're upset you have got to remove yourself from that situation.
Right.
You're about to lose it as well, but you're the adult.
Right.
You're in control of the situation. Thankfully, that happened within the first 2 weeks of my last year. And when I tell you that that really set the mood for that class as well, I did not play around. I pulled him to the side and I said, read what you wrote to
Hmm.
me, read it out loud. He couldn't. And I'm like, no, no,
Hmm.
no. You skipped the line. Read what you wrote.
Read what you wrote.
And then you can honestly just say like what you did was wrong and you know that it was wrong. You tried to be hurtful. How
Yeah.
would you feel if I showed this to your loved ones?
Hmm.
Is this really appropriate? Is this really the right thing to write?
Yeah.
What was your purpose to write that?
Right.
Always ask these, like, they feel very philosophical for them because you're asking them to look in the mirror and say, you were acting a fool.
Right.
Why were you acting a
Why?
fool?
Yeah.
Where where is the reason? And most of the time, it's something childish, and you have
Yeah.
to recognize that too. Just that's why it's important to take those whatever time you need. It is important to address behavior on the spot, right? Like as soon as possible, and you will get really good at it.
Right.
But there will be instances where you really do need a little bit of time and distance
Yes.
because
Let me
you
take a
don't
moment. Yeah.
you're not about to snap on these children. You
Don't.
want to stay in the building. You want
Correct.
to you
You
want your
done messed up your
bachelor.
whole livelihood because you're upset, right? No.
So it's always that reminder that you are the adult, they are children. Most of the time, I don't know who you're gonna be teaching. Most of the time they're children. They have their own problems, and then just make them realize that you're just as human as them, but you are
Right.
not gonna act a fool like they did.
And just
So
thinking about what would the parent want, right? What would the parent want you to do? Would the parent want you to ignore it? Would the parent want you to go off and go crazy? Or would the parent want you to pull the child to the side and say, this was hurtful. You wanted to do that. Why? What was the purpose? Would your family be proud of this? Are you proud of this? Having that conversation, I think, as a parent myself, I would appreciate to know that that is what occurred. And I would say to my child, I am embarrassed because I am trying to raise you to be a good human, and that wasn't a good show. of what good humanity is, and I expect better. And those types of conversations are what changes a child, right? They will change them as a person, and they'll I'm sure that child will never forget that conversation and will probably never do that again to
And
somebody.
never did. And never
Good,
did. And for
good.
my example, never did. He ended up being a great kid. He was funny and so
Oh,
energetic in my class. And that's what makes me proud that you are able to shape a human.
right.
And that's a lot of responsibility.
It is.
It's a lot of responsibility, but it's beautiful. I never went into teaching with this feeling of responsibility. I used to say that I didn't like kids, and
Right. And
that
now
kind
look.
of might be true, but it's also kind of not true
Right.
because I think about my students even to this day. I'm like, oh man, they're gonna be not all of them, but I think that the ones that really learn something from me, from Mr. Martinez, are will be better students next year to their high school
Right.
teachers.
They will. They will. And I have one final question for you. But very quickly, what advice would you give a first year teacher about handling stress and feeling overwhelmed?
Take your PTO. Do not. I was very bad about it the first semester, and I should have taken some days off.
Yeah,
Take care of yourself.
take care of yourself.
Please do not put impossible expectations on yourself. If you
Mhm.
knew me, you would know that I am that person. I don't want to be great. I want to be perfect. And take that
Yeah.
word, and that word haunts my speech consistently. I say perfect,
There
and
is no
people pick up on
perfection.
it.
Just
There's
just
not.
focus on one thing. Focus on growth and one thing that you want to grow at a time so that you're not overwhelmed and everything like that because nothing's going to be perfect and no 2 days are going to be the same anyway. They're going to come in and you're going to go, "Oh, okay, this is new." It's always going to be something. So just focus on one at a time and grow that one thing at a time. But you did a great job of that. I noticed.
Thank you. I will have to say that it honestly came from my teacher's evaluator too, because when we set goals at the beginning of the year, I literally typed the word perfect, and she was like, "This word perfect."
This is not gonna cut it.
That's and
Yeah.
I'm like, that stayed with me all year, and I was like, "Thank you for noticing that," because that again is such a horrible part of my speech where I love saying like that's perfect. That I'm like, no, there's no such thing.
Right.
Focus on the one thing that matters to you the most and grow. Grow. You will grow if you're willing. Be humble, take time off, be real with yourself
Yeah.
because there are times that you're going to want to do a lot of things during that weekend and you're going to bring your stack of papers to grade and then you're going to bring it right back on Monday. If you know, like, be honest with yourself. If you're exhausted, just say, you know what? I'm just going to have to stay late on Monday and Tuesday to grade it.
Right.
And I rather do that than to work Saturday and Sunday. And that is completely fine.
You
You're
just make those sacrifices and those decisions and it works.
You will find the time. The time will
Yeah.
find you too. Trust
Yes.
me, you
Oh,
have to
yes, it
get it
will.
done. You will have
Ricardo,
to get it
thank
done.
you so much for coming. You have been a joy, and I am sure there are new teachers everywhere and seasoned teachers that have learned something from what you've shared. So thank you for your candor and thank you for your wonderful personality. And I hope to see you back here again. You are welcome back anytime.
Please have me back. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye.
That was great insight by Mr. Martinez. Very happy that he was able to stop by and share with us his thoughts. He's a new teacher, but I learned a lot. So it doesn't matter how long you've been in the game. If you know education and you know that what you do works, share it with somebody. And now it's time for the tip of the week. This week's tip of the week is get the look. Get the look means Instead of yelling or screaming, try to make it a habit of ensuring that your expectations are very clear and are practiced so that students know what is expected of them and they show that they understand that by doing it. Instead of saying, hey, everybody sit down day after day after day, get to the point to where they know exactly what needs to be done, be clear on the expectation, be clear on the consequences, and then get the look. And when they're not doing what they need to do, get the look. And they'll get it together. Even if you have to use other gestures like a countdown with your fingers, some people use a little bell, like a little bing, like one of those really hotel sounding bells, the really light ones if you just tap it. He did also mention timers. Timers can be your very best friend. But if those things are not available to you or you just didn't have time, get to the point to where you have a look. You need to get the look. In the hallways, transitioning between different things, you should be able to look at your class and they get it together immediately. And with that being said, thinking about how you can speak to me, comment, like, subscribe, share that you enjoy what you're hearing and seeing. I would love to know your favorite episodes. I would love to know your favorite quotes, even from some of the guests. Other people don't know you like it unless you tell them you like it. The more that you put your stamp on it by following, subscribing, and commenting, then the better. Be sure that you rediscover your joy, embrace your true self, and let them see you. Thanks for listening to Let Them See You. Until next time, climb with courage, stand in the light, let them see you.